Get out of here. I didn't invite you. Those words. My daughter's words. They still echo in my head every single night when I close my eyes. The way her voice cut through that room, sharp, cold, deliberate, like I was nothing. Like I was a stranger who had wandered in off the street. I stood there, frozen. My hand was still resting on the back of that chair. The chair I'd wiped down that morning. The chair that sat at the table I'd spent 3 hours setting. In the house I built. With my own money. With my own sweat. With my own broken back and bleeding hands. Do you know what it feels like to be told you don't belong in your own home? By your own child? The child you carried for 9 months. The child you sacrificed everything for. The child who was supposed to love you back. The guests, her guests, not mine, never mine, they all turned to look at me. Some of them gasped. Others looked away, embarrassed. A few had the decency to look shocked. But most of them? Most of them just stared, waiting to see what the crazy old woman would do next. Waiting to see if I'd cry. If I'd beg. If I'd apologize for existing in my own damn house. The room smelled like the food I'd cooked. Lily's favorite lemon chicken. The rosemary potatoes she used to beg me to make when she was little. The chocolate cake I'd stayed up until midnight baking because I wanted everything to be perfect for her. For her baby shower. For my grandchild. I looked at the decorations hanging from the ceiling, the pink and gold streamers I'd spent my pension money on. The flowers I'd arranged in mason jars because I couldn't afford real vases. The banner that said "Welcome Baby" that I'd hung myself, standing on a step stool, my niece screaming at me the whole time. All of it. Every single piece of it. I had done it for her. And she looked at me like I was trash. To understand what made my daughter throw me out of my own home, the home I built brick by brick, I need to tell you how we got here. I need to tell you what happens when you love someone so much that you forget to save a piece of yourself. When you give and give and give until there's nothing left, and then they ask for more. And when you have nothing left to give, they hate you for it. My name is Naomi Collins. I'm 62 years old. I wasn't supposed to be here, telling you this story. I was supposed to be at that baby shower, sitting at that table, holding my daughter's hand, maybe crying happy tears when she opened the little hand-knitted blanket I'd made for the baby. I was supposed to be a grandmother, not a ghost in my own home. But here I am instead. Alone. In the house I built. The house that was supposed to be my legacy. The house that became my prison. Listen to me when I tell you this, and I want you to really hear me. I built this house after my husband died. Every single brick was paid for with double shifts and sleepless nights. Nights when I was so tired I could barely stand, but I stood anyway because I had a daughter to raise and a dream to build. This home was supposed to be my daughter's inheritance. My legacy. Proof that a woman alone could create something beautiful, something lasting, something that said we survived. But you can't inherit what you steal. And you can't call something a gift when you rip it from someone's hands. My voice is calm right now. Reflective. That's what people tell me I should be: calm, understanding, forgiving. She's your daughter, Naomi. She's pregnant. She's hormonal. She didn't mean it. But my hands? My hands are trembling. They'd been trembling since that day. Since the moment I realized that the person I loved most in this world had learned to see me as nothing. I was 35 years old when my husband David died. 35. Still young enough to have dreams. Still young enough to believe that life was supposed to be fair. Still young enough to think that if you loved hard enough, worked hard enough, sacrificed hard enough, everything would turn out okay. Car accident. Sudden. He was here one morning, kissing Lily goodbye before school, and gone on his way to work. Just like that. No warning. No goodbye. No chance to prepare. Lily was only 7 years old. 7. She didn't understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. She kept setting a place for him at dinner. Kept leaving drawings on his side of the bed. Kept asking me when he was coming back from his trip. I had to tell my baby girl that her father was never coming back. Do you know what that does to you? Do you know what it feels like to watch your child's world shatter and know that you can't fix it? That all you can do is hold her while she cries and pretend that you're not breaking into 1,000 pieces yourself? But I couldn't break. I didn't have that luxury. I had a child to raise. Bills to pay. A future to build from the rubble of everything we'd lost. David didn't leave us much. He was a good man, a loving man, but he wasn't a rich man. The life insurance barely covered the funeral and a few months of rent. After that, it was just me and Lily and whatever I could scrape together. So I scraped. God, how I scraped. I worked as a seamstress during the day, altering clothes at a little shop downtown. My eyes would burn from staring at tiny stitches under that fluorescent light. My fingers bled from needle pricks. But it paid. Not much, but it paid. And at night? At night I cleaned houses. Rich people's houses. I'd put Lily to bed, kiss her forehead, and then slip out to scrub someone else's toilets, mop someone else's floors, dust someone else's treasures. I'd come home at 2, 3 in the morning, smelling like bleach and lemon polish, and collapse into bed for a few hours before starting all over again. I saved every penny. Every single penny. I kept it in a coffee can under my bed because I didn't trust banks, and I didn't want anyone to know what I was planning. I ate less so Lily could eat more. I wore the same 3 outfits for years while Lily got new school clothes every season. I walked to work to save bus fare. I cut my own hair. I learned to fix everything myself because I couldn't afford to pay someone else to do it. People used to tell me I was crazy. Naomi, you're killing yourself. Slow down. Enjoy life. But they didn't understand. I wasn't killing myself. I was building a life. I was building a future. I was building a home. When Lily was 15, I bought a small plot of land on the edge of town. It wasn't much, just a 1/4 acre with overgrown grass and a few scraggly trees, but it was mine. Mine and Lily's. I told her, baby, we're going to build our house here. It's going to take time, but we're going to do it. You and me. We're going to have a place that's ours. A place nobody can ever take from us. She was so excited. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. She said, "Really, Mom? We're going to have our own house?" I said, "Yes, baby. Our own house." And we did. We built it. Piece by piece. Year by year. I hired contractors when I had to, but I did everything I could myself. I learned to lay tile from YouTube videos. I painted every wall. I installed the kitchen cabinets with my bare hands and a borrowed drill. I planted the garden out back, roses and lavender and tomatoes. Lily helped when she was home from school. She'd hand me tools, hold the ladder steady, pick out paint colors. We'd work together on weekends, covered in dust and sweat, laughing about how we probably looked like crazy people. But we were happy. God, we were so happy. The house took almost 10 years to finish completely. 10 years of saving and building and sacrificing. But when it was done, when I stood in the living room and looked around at what we'd created, I cried. I cried so hard I couldn't stop. Because this house meant everything. It meant I'd kept my promise to David to take care of our girl. It meant I'd given Lily something solid, something real, something that would outlast me. It meant all those sleepless nights and bleeding fingers and aching bones had been worth it. I loved my daughter more than I loved my own life. That was never in question. Every decision I made, every sacrifice, every choice, it was all for her. To give her opportunities one never had. To give her security I never felt. To give her a soft place to land when the world got hard. My love for her was total. Complete. Unconditional. And that love? That blind, consuming, sacrificial love? That was my biggest mistake. Lily met Ryan when she was 26. He seemed nice enough at first, polite, respectful, ambitious. He had a good job in sales, drove a decent car, and made my daughter smile. I was happy for her. Genuinely happy. She deserved love. She deserved someone who would take care of her the way her father would have. They dated for 2 years before he proposed. The wedding was small, just what Lily wanted. I paid for most of it, of course. Dipped into the little bit of savings I had left. But I didn't mind. It was my baby's wedding day. I would have given her the moon if she'd asked for it. After the wedding, they got an apartment across town. It was small, cramped, but it was theirs. I visited once a week, always bringing food, always offering to help clean or do laundry or whatever they needed. Lily would roll her eyes sometimes. "Mom, we're fine. We don't need you to take care of us." But I couldn't help it. Taking care of her was what I did. It was who I was. Then, about 6 months after the wedding, Lily called me. She sounded stressed, upset. She said they'd had some unexpected expenses, Ryan's car had broken down, there were medical bills, something about credit card debt I didn't quite understand. And then she asked, "Mom, can we stay with you? Just for a little while. Just until we get back on our feet." I didn't hesitate. Not for a second. "Of course, baby. Of course you can. This is your home. It's always been your home." They moved in that weekend. Ryan thanked me, said they'd only be there a month or 2, just until they figured things out. Lily hugged me and said, "You're the best mom in the world." I believed her. I gave them the master bedroom. The one I'd designed myself. The one with the big windows that caught the morning light and the walk-in closet I'd built from scratch. "You'll need the space," I told them. "You're young. You'll want to start a family soon." I moved into the smaller guest room. The one at the back of the house with a single window and a closet that barely fit my clothes. But I didn't mind. They were family. What's mine was theirs. The first month was fine. Pleasant, even. We'd have dinner together. Watch TV. Talk about their plans for the future. It felt like the old days, when Lily was young and it was just the 2 of us against the world. But then things started to shift. Small things at first. Little boundary violations that I told myself didn't matter. Lily started rearranging the living room without asking. She moved my favorite reading chair, the one I'd had since before she was born, into the garage. "It doesn't match the aesthetic, Mom. We need the space." The aesthetic. My house suddenly needed an aesthetic. Ryan started leaving his stuff everywhere, shoes by the door, jackets on my kitchen chairs, dirty dishes in the sink. When I'd gently ask him to clean up, he'd say, "Oh yeah, sorry Naomi," but he never changed. Lily stopped asking before inviting people over. I'd come home from running errands to find her friends in my living room, drinking my coffee, laughing at jokes I wasn't part of. My furniture started disappearing. The coffee table my husband had made. The bookshelf I'd painted myself. The decorative plates I'd collected over the years. "We're making space for the baby," Lily said when I asked where everything had gone. "Baby?" She wasn't even pregnant yet. "We're trying," she explained, like I was stupid for not understanding. "We need to get the house ready." "My house?" She said my house was hers. I tried to speak up. Tried to set boundaries. But every time I did, Lily would get this look on her face, hurt, disappointed, like I was being unreasonable. "Mom, we're doing you a favor by staying here and fixing the place up. It was pretty run down before we moved in." Run down. She called the house I'd built with my own hands run down. I started feeling like a guest in my own home. Like I needed permission to use my own kitchen, sit in my own living room, exist in my own space. Lily would give me instructions. "Mom, can you make sure the bathroom is clean? Ryan's parents are coming over." "Mom, don't leave your dishes in the sink. It looks messy." "Mom, can you do the laundry today? We're behind." I wasn't her mother anymore. I was the help. And Ryan? Ryan stopped looking me in the eye. He'd grunt hello when he came home from work, then disappear into the bedroom, my bedroom, and close the door. I'd cook dinner, and they'd eat in their room. I'd clean the house, and they'd mess it up again. I'd try to have a conversation with my daughter, and she'd check her phone the whole time, barely listening. One day, I was doing laundry, their laundry, of course, and I found the title deed to my house sitting on top of the dryer. Ryan must have pulled it out for something. I picked it up, looked at my name printed there in black ink. Naomi N. Collins. Sole owner. I held that piece of paper and felt something crack inside my chest. Because I realized that piece of paper was the only thing I had left. The only proof that this was still mine. That I still mattered. Later that week, I overheard Lily on the phone with a friend. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, I was just walking past her room and the door was cracked open. "Yeah, we're still at my mom's house," she said. Then she laughed. "Well, it's not really her house anymore. I mean, technically it is, but come on. We're the ones making it livable. You should have seen this place before we fixed it up. It was like a grandma's house, you know? All outdated and cluttered." The friend said something I couldn't hear. Lily laughed again. "I know, right? But what can you do? She's stubborn. She thinks she's still in charge." I stood there in the hallway, my hand pressed against the wall to keep myself upright. My daughter. My baby girl. The child I'd given everything for. She thought I was in her way. That night, I lay in my small guest room, the room I'd built to be a place for visitors, never imagining I'd be the visitor in my own home, and I cried. I cried until my throat was raw and my pillow was soaked and I had no tears left. And I asked myself, when did I become so small? When did I let myself disappear? When did my love become my weakness? 3 months after that conversation I'd overheard, Lily told me she was pregnant. She was glowing when she said it. Absolutely glowing. Ryan was grinning. They were so happy, so excited, so full of hope for their future. And I was happy too. Of course I was. I was going to be a grandmother. This baby would be a fresh start, a new generation, a chance for our family to be whole again. But there was a small voice in the back of my head whispering, "This is it. Once the baby comes, you'll never get your house back. You'll never get your life back. You'll be the live-in babysitter forever." I pushed that voice down. Buried it deep. Because what kind of monster thinks like that? What kind of mother isn't purely joyful about her daughter's pregnancy? Lily started planning the baby shower immediately. She made lists, sent invitations, picked out themes. She was so organized, so in control. I asked if I could help. "Sure, Mom," she said absently, scrolling through her phone. "You can cook." That was it. I could cook. Not a plan. I have not decided. Not celebrate with her. Just cook. But I took what I could get. I always did. The day of the shower, I woke up at 5 in the morning. I wanted everything to be perfect. Perfect for my daughter. Perfect for my grandchild. I made Lily's favorite lemon chicken, the one with the crispy skin that takes hours to get just right. I made the rosemary potatoes she used to request for every birthday dinner. I baked the chocolate cake she loved since she was a little girl, the one with the raspberry filling that's tricky to get right but worth it when you see someone's face light up at the first bite. I bought decorations with the last of my monthly pension check. Pink and gold streamers. Balloons. Flowers that I arranged in mason jars because I couldn't afford real vases. A banner that said "Welcome Baby" made me cry a little when I hung it up because I was so happy to welcome this child into our family. I set the table in the dining room, the table I'd built, with my own hands, 10 years ago. I polished the wood until it gleamed. I set out my good plates, the ones I'd been saving for special occasions. I folded cloth napkins into little shapes. I put a centerpiece of roses from my garden in the middle. It looked beautiful. It really did. I stood back and looked at everything I'd created, and for a moment, just a moment, I felt proud. I felt useful. I felt like maybe I still mattered. Lily came downstairs around 10. Late, of course. She was always late these days, said the pregnancy made her tired. She was wearing a beautiful pink dress I'd never seen before. Her hair was done in soft curls. She looked like a princess. My princess. "Good morning, baby," I said, smiling. "I made your favorite breakfast. Are you hungry?" She barely glanced at me. Her eyes were scanning the dining room, taking in the decorations, the table, the food. "Make sure the table looks elegant," she said. "My friends are coming." "Not thank you, Mom." Not "this looks beautiful." Not "you didn't have to do all this." Just instructions. "Make sure it looks elegant." I nodded. "Of course, sweetheart. Is there anything else you need?" She was typing on her phone. "No. Just don't get in the way when people arrive, okay? I want this to be perfect. Don't get in the way." In my own house. I went back to the kitchen and stayed there. That's where I belonged, apparently. In the kitchen. Out of sight. The guests started arriving around noon. All women. All Lily's age. All dressed beautifully, carrying expensive gifts, laughing and chattering like birds. I recognized some of them from Lily's wedding. Others I'd never seen before. Not one of them was someone I knew. Not one friend of mine had been invited. Not one person from my life, my generation, my world. This wasn't a family celebration. This was Lily's party. And I was not on the guest list. I stood in the kitchen doorway and watched them. Watched them hug my daughter. Watched them admire her dress, her hair, her glowing skin. Watched them coo over her belly and ask about names and laugh at inside jokes I wasn't part of. And not one of them acknowledged me. I might as well have been furniture. The party went on for an hour. They ate the food I'd cooked without knowing who made it. They took photos in front of the decorations I'd hung. They played games and opened gifts and celebrated new life in the house I'd built. And I stood in the kitchen. Watching. Invisible. At one point, someone asked where the bathroom was, and Lily pointed down the hall without looking up from her conversation. The woman walked past me like I wasn't there. I felt something building inside me. Something hot and sharp and desperate. A need to be seen. To be acknowledged. To matter. I walked slowly into the dining room. The room was full of noise and laughter and life. My daughter sat at the head of the table, at the head of my table, unwrapping gifts, beaming. I saw an empty chair at the edge. At the very edge, almost pushed against the wall. Like an afterthought. I walked over to it. My legs felt shaky, uncertain. I pulled the chair out slightly. The scrape of wood on wood seemed so loud in my ears. I started to sit. And then Lily's voice cut through the room like a knife. "Get out of here. I didn't invite you." The room fell silent. Completely, utterly silent. Everyone turned to look at me. Lily's face was flushed, angry, and embarrassed. Her eyes were hard and cold. I stood there, half bent over the chair, frozen. "What?" I whispered. "You heard me," Lily said, her voice lower now but still sharp. "This is my party. I didn't invite you. Get out." One of her friends, a blonde woman with perfect makeup, whispered something that might have been "oh my God." I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. This was my daughter. My baby. The child I'd raised and loved and sacrificed everything for. And she was throwing me out. Of my own home. In front of strangers. "Lily, I just wanted to," I started. "I don't care what you wanted," she snapped. "This isn't about you. It's never about you. Just leave. Please." Ryan was sitting next to her. He wouldn't look at me. Just stared down at his plate like if he didn't make eye contact, he wasn't part of what was happening. Coward. I looked around the room. At all these women I didn't know. At the food I'd made. At the decorations I'd hung. At the table I'd built. At the house I'd created from nothing but determination and hope. My hands started shaking. My whole body started shaking. And then Lily turned to her guests with a sweet, apologetic smile and said, "Please forgive her. My mother gets confused sometimes. She doesn't understand boundaries. She thinks everything is about her." Laughter. I heard laughter. Not loud, not mean, but soft, pitying laughter. The sound of people feeling sorry for the crazy old woman who didn't know when she wasn't wanted. One woman actually reached over and patted Lily's hand. "It's okay, sweetie. We understand." They understood. They understood that I was the problem. The embarrassment. The confused old woman who didn't know her place. I felt something inside me break. Actually break. Like a bone snapping. Like glass shattering. Like the last piece of my heart just giving up and crumbling to dust. I turned and walked toward the door. I walked slowly, carefully, like if I moved too fast I might fall apart completely. My vision was blurry. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely grip the doorknob. I was going to leave. I was actually going to walk out of my own home in shame because my daughter told me to. I reached for the door. And then I stopped. I don't know what made me stop. Some tiny spark of something I thought I'd lost. Some small voice deep inside that finally said enough. Enough. I turned around. The party had already resumed. They were laughing again, talking again, acting like I'd never been there. Like I didn't exist. "You know what?" I said. My voice was soft. Trembling. But I said it. The room got quiet again. Lily looked up at me with this annoyed, exasperated expression. Like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "You know what?" I said again, louder this time. "You're right, Lily. I don't belong at your party." She nodded, satisfied. "Thank you for understanding. But I do belong in my house." Her face changed. The satisfaction vanished, replaced by something like shock. "This is my house," I said, and God, it felt good to say it. To finally say it out loud. I built it. I paid for it. Every brick, every nail, every window. Mine. The guests were staring at me now. Really staring. Not with pity. with attention. I let you move in because you said you needed help. I gave you my bedroom because I wanted you to be comfortable. I moved myself into the guest room. I cooked your meals. I cleaned your messes. I made myself smaller and smaller so you could have more space. And you treated me like hired help. Like I was in your way. Like I was nothing. Mom, please, Lily said, standing up. You're making a scene. I've made enough sacrifices for you to have this scene, I said, and I was crying now but I didn't care. Now I'm done being invisible. Lily's face flushed red. Everyone, I'm so sorry. I'm just what? I interrupted. Confused? Old? Stupid? Is that what you tell people about me? That I'm confused? She didn't answer. I gave you everything, I said, and my voice broke. Everything I had. Everything I was. I worked myself to the bone to give you a good life. To give you this house. To give you a future. And you threw me away like I was garbage. One of the guests, a woman with dark hair and kind eyes, looked at Lily with something that might have been judgment. This party is over, I said. All of you need to leave. Now. You can't, Lily started. Yes. I can. This is my house. And I want you all out of it. For a moment, nobody moved. They all just sat there, looking at Lily, then at me, then at each other. And then the woman with kind eyes stood up. Thank you for having us, she said quietly, looking at me, not Lily. And she left. One by one, the others followed. Some looked uncomfortable. Some looked angry. Some wouldn't meet anyone's eyes. Lily just stood there, staring at me like she didn't recognize me. Good. Because I didn't recognize her either. When the last guest left, Lily turned to me with tears in her eyes. But they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of anger. You embarrassed me, she said. No, I replied. You embarrassed yourself. That night, Lily and Ryan locked themselves in the master bedroom, my bedroom, and didn't come out. I sat in the living room, in the dark, staring at the mess from the party. Half-eaten cake. Dirty plates. Discarded wrapping paper. I should have felt terrible. I should have felt guilty. I should have been devastated. But I felt free. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The next morning, I called my friend Patricia. She'd been a lawyer before she retired, and she'd always told me, Naomi, if you ever need legal help, you call me. I told her everything. The whole story. She listened without interrupting, and when I was done, she said, Oh honey. We're fixing this. Today. She came over that afternoon with a folder of documents. She helped me go through every piece of paper related to the house, the deed, the mortgage papers, the utility bills, everything. This is yours, she said firmly. Completely, legally, entirely yours. They have no claim to it. None. She helped me draft a letter. A formal letter giving Lily and Ryan notice that they had 30 days to find a new place to live and move out. 30 days. That was generous, Patricia said. I could have given them less. When I presented the letter to Lily the next morning, she laughed. Actually laughed. You're joking, right? No, I said. I'm not joking. You have 30 days. Ryan came out of the bedroom. Naomi, be reasonable. Lily's pregnant. You can't throw out your pregnant daughter. I'm not throwing her out, I said. I'm asking her to leave. There's a difference. This is insane, Lily said. You're being vindictive and cruel. All because I asked you not to sit at my party? No, I said, And my voice was steady now. Strong. Not because of the party. Because of everything that came before it. Because you stopped treating me like your mother and started treating me like a burden. Because you took my home and tried to make it yours without asking. Because you forgot that I'm a person who deserves respect. I always respected you, Lily said, but her voice wavered. No. You didn't. But you're going to learn to. The next 30 days were the longest of my life. Lily and Ryan barely spoke to me. When they did, it was cold, clipped, angry. Lily tried guilt. What kind of grandmother throws out her pregnant daughter? Ryan tried negotiation. What if we pay rent? Would that make you happy? I said no to all of it. Because this wasn't about money. It wasn't about punishment. It was about me finally, standing up for myself. I started reclaiming my house. Piece by piece. I moved back into the master bedroom. It felt strange at first, like I was trespassing. But I forced myself to stay. To sleep in my own bed. To wake up to the morning light I designed the room to catch. I went to the storage unit where Lily had put all my old furniture and I brought it back. My reading chair. My bookshelf. My decorative plates. I put everything back where it belonged. I threw away the things Lily had bought to update the house. The generic canvas prints. The trendy throw pillows. The stuff that had no soul, no story, no meaning. I replanted my garden that had been neglected. Weeded the flower beds. Pruned the roses. Watered the tomatoes. Every day, I took back a little more of myself. And every day, Lily grew more distant. On the 29th day, a moving truck pulled up outside. Lily and Ryan loaded their things in silence. Neither of them would look at me. I stood in the doorway, watching. I should have felt victorious. But I just felt sad. Sad that it had come to this. Sad that my daughter and I had lost each other somewhere along the way. When they were done loading, Lily walked up to me. Her eyes were red, but she wasn't crying anymore. I'll never forgive you for this, she said. Maybe not, I replied. But I forgive myself. And that's what matters. She turned and walked away. Ryan followed. The truck drove off. And I was alone. The house is quiet now. So quiet. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and panic, thinking I hear Lily calling for me. But it's just the wind. Just the house settling. Just my own mind playing tricks. I'm learning to live with the quiet. I'm learning to live with myself. In the weeks after they left, I went through a kind of mourning. Not for my daughter, she's still alive, still out there somewhere, but for the relationship we used to have. For the little girl who used to hold my hand and tell me I was the best mommy in the world. For the teenager who used to help me paint walls and pick out tile. For the young woman who used to call me every day just to talk. That person is gone. Maybe she was never really there. Maybe I'd built her up in my mind, made her into someone she never was. Or maybe she changed. Maybe having someone love you too much, sacrifice too much, give too much, maybe that changes you. Makes you feel entitled. Makes you forget that love is supposed to be a two-way street. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a mother who loved her daughter too much and lost herself in the process. But I'm finding myself again. Slowly. Painfully. But surely. I water my garden every morning now. The roses are blooming again. The tomatoes are heavy on the vine. The lavender smells like heaven. I sit at my table, the one I built with my own hands, and I eat meals I've cooked for myself. Not for anyone else. For me. I've started reading again. Books I'd been meaning to get to for years but never had time for because I was too busy taking care of everyone else. I've started going to a women's group at the community center on Thursday nights. We drink wine and talk about our lives and nobody judges anybody. Some of them have similar stories. Daughters who don't call. Sons who don't visit. Family members who took advantage. We're all learning to be okay with being enough. Just as we are. Without needing to prove our worth through sacrifice. 3 months after Lily and Ryan moved out, my phone rang. It was late at night, almost midnight. I saw her name on the screen and my heart stopped. I answered. Mom? Her voice was thick with tears. Lily? The baby's coming. I'm at the hospital. It's too early. I'm scared. For a moment, just a moment, every instinct in me screamed to jump in my car and race to her side. To hold her. To tell her everything would be okay. To be her mother. But then I remembered standing in my dining room, being told to get out of my own house. I remembered the cold look in her eyes. I remembered all the ways she'd made me feel small and worthless and invisible. And I remembered that I mattered too. Have you called Ryan? I asked. He's here. But I need you, Mom. I need my mother. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. Lily, I said softly. I'm glad you called. I really am. But I can't do this. Silence on the other end. Then, what? I can't rush to save you every time something goes wrong. I can't be the person you call only when you need something. That's not a relationship. That's not love. But I'm your daughter, she said, and she sounded so young, so scared. The baby. I know, I said, and I was crying now. I know you're my daughter. And I love you. I will always love you. But love doesn't mean losing myself again. So you're just going to abandon me? When I need you most? No, sweetheart. You abandoned me first. When you decided I didn't matter. When you made me feel like a stranger in my own home. When you told me to get out. She was sobbing now. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear? I want you to mean it, I said. I want you to understand what you did. I want you to see me as a person, not just as your mother who's supposed to give and give and give until there's nothing left. I do see you, she whispered. No. You see what you need me to be. But you don't see me. There was a long pause. I could hear hospital sounds in the background, beeping machines, muffled voices, footsteps. What do you want from me? She finally asked. I want you to respect me. I want you to treat me like I matter. I want you to remember that I'm a human being with feelings and boundaries and needs of my own. And if I do that? If I try? Will you come? God, it was so tempting. So tempting to say yes. To get in my car. To be the hero. To rush to her rescue like I'd done 1,000 times before. But I've learned something these past few months. I'd learned that saving people who don't want to be saved, who don't appreciate the sacrifice, who take and take without giving back, that doesn't make you a hero. It makes you a martyr. And martyrs die for their cause. I wasn't ready to die anymore. I wanted to live. I love you, Lily, I said. I love you so much it hurts. But I can't be who you want me to be anymore. I can't set myself on fire to keep you warm. So that's it? You're just done with me? No. I'm not done with you. I'm just done sacrificing myself. There's a difference. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, her voice cold, fine. I don't need you anyway. I never needed you. And she hung up. I sat there in my living room, in the dark, holding my phone, and I sobbed. I sobbed so hard I thought I might break apart. Because even though I knew I'd done the right thing, even though I knew I'd had to set that boundary, it still hurt. It still hurts to choose myself over my child. But I did it anyway. The baby came 2 days later. A girl. 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Healthy and perfect. I know because Patricia told me. She'd stayed in touch with one of Lily's friends, and word got back to her. Her name is Emma. Emma Rose. I have a granddaughter I've never met. That hurts more than anything else. More than the fight. More than the eviction. More than the phone call. But I can't go back. I can't undo my boundary just because it's hard. Because if I do, I'm teaching Lily that all she has to do is wait long enough, need me badly enough, and I'll fold. I'll sacrifice myself again. I'll disappear again. And I won't. I can't. Some days are harder than others. Some days I walk past the nursery I'd started to set up in my mind, the one with the white crib and the rocking chair and the hand-knitted blankets. Some days I imagine what it would be like to hold Emma, to sing to her, to watch her grow. But then I remembered, I can't pour from an empty cup. And I've been empty for too long. I'm filling myself back up now. Slowly. Day by day. I've started taking painting classes at the community center. Turns out I'm not half bad at it. There's something therapeutic about putting brush to canvas, creating something beautiful, something that's mine. I've reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with over the years. Women I used to work with, neighbors I used to talk to, people I'd let drift away because I was too busy being everything to my daughter to be anything to anyone else. I've started traveling a little. Nothing fancy, just weekend trips to nearby towns, small adventures that make me feel alive again. I'm learning who Naomi Collins is when she's not just Lily's mother. When she's not just the woman who sacrifices. When she's not just the background character in someone else's story. I'm learning to be the main character in my own life. And you know what? It's terrifying. But it's also liberating. It's been 6 months since that phone call from the hospital. 6 months have passed since I heard my daughter's voice. The house is still quiet. But it's a peaceful quiet now. Not a lonely one. I wake up every morning and make myself coffee, the expensive kind I'd always told myself was too much, and I sit in my garden and watch the sunrise. I water my plants. I read my books. I paint my paintings. I've stopped waiting for the phone to ring. Stopped hoping every time I hear a car outside that it might be Lily coming to apologize, to make amends, to try again. If she comes, she comes. If she doesn't, I'll survive. Because I'm learning something important, you can love someone with everything you have and still choose yourself. You can hope for reconciliation and still maintain your boundaries. You can grieve what you've lost and still be grateful for what you've gained. I've gained myself back. That's worth something. Patricia came over last week with a bottle of wine and a knowing smile. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm okay," I said. And I meant it. Just okay? Actually. I'm more than okay. I'm good. I'm really good. She hugged me. "I'm proud of you, Naomi. It takes strength to do what you did." "It doesn't feel like strength," I admitted. "Some days it feels like cruelty. Like I'm a terrible mother for not being there when she needed me." "You were there for her for 26 years, Patricia said firmly. "You gave her everything. She's the one who forgot that respect goes both ways. You didn't fail her. She failed you." Maybe she's right. Maybe she's not. I don't know anymore. What I do know is this: I'm sleeping better. The trembling in my hands has stopped. When I look in the mirror, I recognize the woman staring back at me. Last week, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to the courthouse and updated my will. I'd always planned to leave everything to Lily. The house, my savings, everything I'd worked so hard to build. It was all going to be hers. But now? Now I've set up a trust. If Lily and I reconcile, if she learns to treat me with respect, if we can rebuild our relationship on healthier terms, then yes, she'll inherit. But if not, if we never fix this, then everything goes to charity. To organizations that help single mothers build homes. To women who are trying to create something from nothing, just like I did. My legacy won't be used to reward someone who couldn't see my worth. That felt good. That felt right. Yesterday, something unexpected happened. I went to check my mail and found a letter. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. Lily's handwriting. My hand shook as I opened it. I took it inside, made myself tea, sat down at my table, and read. Dear Mom. I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if you'll care. But I needed to write it anyway. Emma is 6 months old now. She's beautiful. She has your eyes, did you know that? Everyone says she looks like me, but when I look at her, I see you. Being a mother is the hardest thing I've ever done. She cries and I don't know why. She needs things I don't know how to give her. I'm exhausted all the time. I'm scared all the time. I don't know what I'm doing. And every day, I think about you. About how you did this alone. About how you raised me by yourself after Dad died. About how you worked 2 jobs and still managed to make me feel loved and safe. I never thanked you for that. I never told you how hard it must have been. I took everything you did for granted because that's what kids do, I guess. They assume their parents will just always be there, always giving, always sacrificing. I don't know when I stopped seeing you as a person. When you became just Mom instead of Naomi, a woman with her own life and dreams and needs. I don't know when I started treating you like you existed just to serve me. But I did. I know I did. The baby shower. Mom, I replay that day in my head over and over. I saw your face when I told you to get out. I see how you looked, hurt, shocked, betrayed. And I hate myself for it. I was so wrapped up in making everything perfect for my friends, in showing off, in proving that I had my life together, that I forgot about the one person who actually mattered. The one person who made that party possible. Who made everything possible. You. Ryan and I are doing okay. We found an apartment. It's small and it's not as nice as your house, but it's ours. We're paying our own bills. Taking care of our own responsibilities. Growing up, I guess. And I'm realizing that I never really grew up before. Not really. I was playing house with your house. Playing adult with your money and your support and your endless forgiveness. I want to say I'm sorry, but that doesn't feel like enough. Sorry doesn't cover years of taking advantage. Sorry doesn't erase the pain I caused. Sorry doesn't give you back everything I took. But I am sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to let me back into your life. I'm not even asking you to meet Emma, even though I wish you would. Even though she deserves to know her grandmother. I'm just asking you to know that I see you now. I see what you did for me. I see who you are. I see that you're not just my mother, you're Naomi Collins, a woman who survived loss and poverty and heartbreak and built something beautiful anyway. You're a person who deserves respect and love and a life of your own. I hope you're happy, Mom. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're doing all the things you couldn't do when you were too busy taking care of me. You deserve that. I love you. I've always loved you. Even when I was treating you terribly, Even when I was selfish and cruel, I loved you. I just didn't know how to show it in a way that honored who you are. Maybe someday, if you're willing, we can try again. Not the way it was before, I don't want to go back to that. But something new. Something healthier. Something where we both matter. But only if you want to. Only if you're ready. I won't push. I won't demand it. I won't show up at your door and expect you to drop everything for me. I'm learning that love isn't just about need. It's about respect. Thank you for teaching me that, even if I had to learn it the hard way. Love. Lily. I read that letter 3 times. And then I sat at my table and cried. But these weren't tears of pain. Not entirely. They were tears of release. Of recognition. Of hope. Because my daughter saw me. Finally, after everything, she saw me. I don't know what will happen next. I don't know if I'm ready to let her back into my life yet. I don't know if we can build something new and healthy after everything that's broken. But I know this, I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to fold. I'm not going to sacrifice myself again just because she wrote a nice letter. If we rebuild our relationship, it's going to be on new terms. Equal terms. With boundaries and respect and mutual understanding. And if we don't? If we can't? Then I'll survive that too. Because I've learned the most important lesson of my life. I am not just someone's mother. I am not just someone's sacrifice. I am not just the woman who gives until she has nothing left. I am Naomi Collins. And I am enough. So here's what I want you to take from my story. If you're a mother who's giving everything to your children, pause. Look at yourself. Are you still there? Or have you disappeared into the role? Your children need you to be strong, yes. They need you to sacrifice sometimes, yes. But they also need you to teach them that you matter too. Those boundaries are healthy. That respect goes both ways. That love doesn't mean erasure. If you teach them that your needs don't matter, that your life doesn't matter, that you exist only to serve them, what are you really teaching them? That's what they'll expect from everyone. That's what they'll become. And if you're a child who's taking advantage of your parents' love, stop. Look at them. Really look at them. See the person behind the title. See the sacrifices they've made. See the parts of themselves they've given up for you. And ask yourself, am I honoring that? Or am I using it? Because there's a difference between accepting help and demanding servitude. There's a difference between leaning on someone during hard times and treating them like they exist only for your convenience. Your parents are people. Flawed, complicated, hurting people who are doing their best. See them. Respect them. Love them not just for what they can give you, but for who they are. We teach our children to stand tall. To be strong. To take up space in the world. But sometimes we must remind them, gently or harshly, depending on what it takes, who built the ground beneath their feet. I built that ground. Brick by brick. Sacrifice by sacrifice. Year by year. And I will not apologize for standing on it myself. Never let anyone, not even family, especially not family, make you feel unwelcome in the home you built with love. Never let anyone convince you that your worth lies only in what you can give them. Never let anyone make you so small that you disappear. You matter. Your needs matter. Your life matters. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for others, is to say, no. Not anymore. I choose me. This time I chose me. And I would do it again. My name is Naomi Collins. I'm 62 years old. I built a house with my own hands. I raised a daughter by myself. I survived loss and poverty and heartbreak. And I'm still here. Still standing. Still enough. And so are you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more real stories like this one and click on the image showing on your screen to watch another real story. Trust me, it's more crazier and heartwarming than you can ever imagine. See you in the next story.